All right, writers. Today you're going to be creating what's called a book map. This is how graphic novelists plan their stories. They use something called a book map. So, what is that? Well, basically, you are going to be taking some sticky notes, like I have here on this Jamboard, and you're going to number them. If you want to do this in your notebook, you're welcome to do this. If you have sticky notes, if you don't, you could just cut up some paper. And then with each of these sticky notes, you're going to think about um, what you want on each page of your graphic novel. And then you're going to be able to kind of reorder them and move them around however you want them. So as you begin this work, you got to think about how stories often begin, right? Sometimes with action, dialogue, or maybe laying out a problem that has to be resolved. And then, you got to ask yourself, once you have, that idea down, how does the problem in my story have to be resolved? And then what steps have to happen to move my story towards that ending? Okay. Once you have that down, you can kind of fill in your stickies here. Also, you can also put more than one event on a single page. Remember, in a graphic novel, there's going to be multiple panels on each page, so you can probably do more than one event on a page. But be careful with that because you don't want to do too much. I'm going to show you how I did this. Again, I sort of asked myself, well, how is my story going to begin? And I think with my characters, Elvia, who is really, really talkative and really has trouble controlling herself, and Natalie, who's kind of more quiet, who she wants to be friends with. It all begins the first day at Middleton Middle School. Elvia, she gets to class early. And so I jot that down, and I'm going to show her, getting to class. And maybe she's like the first one there. And then I thought about, well, how does the problem of my story have to be resolved? So I know that a big problem that they have, their problem between the two of them, is that Elvia talks too much and Natalie just kind of feels like, you're not letting me speak. How can you be my friend if you don't let me speak? So I know that eventually Elvia has to apologize, and maybe she wants to start over. And maybe Natalie's going to be really nice and agree with her. But I got to figure out, how do I get them there? So I definitely think at some point they have some kind of blow up, right? The climax of this. I think somewhere in the middle, towards the middle, Elvia is going to be, maybe they'll see each other in science class, and Natalie is going to blow up and yell that she's not Elvia's partner. She doesn't have anything to do with them. So there I have kind of like my beginning, my middle, and my end of my story, but I have all these other post-its that I need to fill in. Now I'm doing at least 9. I'm going to say no more than 12 because it's just going to be really overwhelming to have to draw all of that. So I'm going to say start with 9 and then maybe move up to 12 like I did. So when I was doing this work, one thing I realized was I needed some events that happened sort of in between these things. So I took some suggestions from some of you. There's a couple of scenes where Elvia is just talking the entire time, all through the English class, and then she talks all through lunch, and then even while they're in science class. And then she calls her up. Elvia calls up Natalie to do some homework together, and Elvia talks for hours until Natalie's mom makes her get off the phone. I think it was a really key turning point where Natalie is going to soccer tryouts where Elvia is waiting for her, and Elvia is kind of talking to the other kids and telling them that Natalie is shy and doesn't want to speak. And I think I'm going to have to show that Natalie is really feeling kind of bad about that. But you know what? I think I might want to put this scene a little earlier here. I might want to put this maybe move it over here and put this over here. So maybe the phone call takes place. And then I'm just going to switch the numbers around. So if this was post-it 6, I'm going to change this to post-it 5. And then this one is going to be number 6 so that I can reorder my book map. And once you go through and you fill out your whole book map, you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to maybe decide, I really want this scene to be here, or maybe I want to split this scene into 2 parts. So maybe you're going to have to, create a second post-it. And actually that's what I did, because that's how I ended up with like 12 post-its instead of the 9. I realized I needed to put a couple extra moments in between here. Okay. Once you have like an outline of what's going to happen on each page, read through, make sure it makes sense and you really, really like how it is, because then you can go back to each post-it and you can do some jots about what's the setting, what are the character actions, what's maybe some important dialogue. So for this one, I already have the setting here. They're in school. I'm going to say in English class, right? I'm going to say that actions. Let me see. Maybe Elvia chewing her nails. That would really show that she's nervous. Maybe Natalie has like shy body language. I have to figure that out. Right? And then I'm going to say dialogue. Maybe Natalie asks Elvia if the seat next to her is taken. Elvia. You know what? I just want to write that down. Is this seat taken? Okay. And that's kind of what you're going to want to do once you have your book map already done. Good luck.